Hello, algebra students. So to streamline the process today, I just made this quick little video so that you can look at it later if you have any questions or even during class. So without further ado, I'm going to start. So right off the bat, it says write the equation for point slope form. So this is saying that we get a point and we also have a slope. So that means that our equation is going to be y minus y1 is equal to m parentheses x minus x1. Now, the point, just a side note here that comes out of this is x1 and y1. So for example, if the equation was y minus 6 is equal to 2/3 x plus 5, my point would be that x1, so I just look at that number, and it's 5, and you notice in the equation there's a negative and there's a plus, so I take the opposite, and I get negative 5, and then on the other side is y1 is 6, so the opposite of that negative 6 is just 6. That would be my point, and I would just go ahead, plot this, and then utilize my slope that's there. But for this question, it's just y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. Slope-intercept form, we have y is equal to mx plus b, and then standard form is ax plus by equals c. You do need capital letters here, so make sure to have those. Now, you're also going to get asked a question on parallel lines, and the abbreviation for that is two little lines like that. That just means we have the same slope. You're also going to be asked about perpendicular. So that's the symbol for perpendicular, and that means we have opposite reciprocal slope. And an example of that would be if my line was y equals 2/3 x plus 1, the slope here would be negative 3/2 because we're opposite, and then we take the reciprocal and we flip. Okay, graphing, make sure to have a straight edge for the test, but for the points right here, it is just going to be 3 and 2, and then my slope is going to be negative 5/3. So I'm going to go over 3 up 2, and you always start by plotting that point first, and then I use my slope. It says to go down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to the right 3, 1, 2, 3. Also, make sure to have arrows on your lines. That is going to be something that is graded. So this is line A, and line B, I'm just going to do my T-chart here. I'll do it both ways though, so you'll be able to skip ahead if you don't do it this way. But I have X and Y, 0, 0. So really what you do in standard form, you just cover up the number with the 0 under it. So X is 0, so I cover that up. So all I'm doing here is negative 15 divided by 5. So I cover it up, divide that, I get negative 3. And then I'm going to cover up, now the y is 0, so I cover that up. So I get negative 15 divided by negative 3. So it's really just taking this number right here divided by these two numbers over there. And so I get negative 5 here, or positive 5, and I plot those points. So I'm going to have 0, negative 3, and then I'm going to have 5, 0. This is line B. Now, if you do it the other way, we would get 5y, I'll write it off to the side over here. We would get 5y is equal to a positive 3x minus 15. Okay, we add that over. They are not like terms. You will not get them to add together. Then I divide by 5. So I divide the entire thing by 5, and I get y is equal to 3/5 x minus 3. And actually, that's exactly what we had. Okay. All right, and then our last line, 5, we go negative 2. This is the y-intercept. So we always go to the y-axis, and we find negative 2. So negative 2, Then I utilize my slope, -4. I go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. To the right 7. There. And I draw my line. Now, question 6 says, use the line from number 5 to predict what y will be when x is 14. Well, when x is 14, that is going to be off our graph. Okay, that would be somewhere out here. But what you can do is you can go like this. So it tells me x is 14. What is y going to be? So my equation is y equals -4 divided by 7. I substitute in that number for x because that's what x is. Well, 7 or 14 divided by 7 is 2. And so I get -8 minus 2 is -10. So y equals -10. Okay, write the equation of a line that is parallel to y equals 4x plus 6. So I'm using this slope because we're parallel and has the same y-intercept as this line. My y-intercept is right there. And so that means my line is y equals 4x plus 3. Make sure to have the y there. Make sure to have the x there. Otherwise, it's not an equation of a line. Write the equation of a line that passes through this point. So I have 2 points. Neither of them is the x or y intercept, so I'm not going to use standard form. I'll eventually use point slope form, but first I need to find the slope. We've been doing this for a while, so I take my y's and subtract, so -2 minus 4, and 5 minus 1 minus -1, excuse me. I get -6 divided by +6, so -1 is my slope. I'm just going to choose this as my point, so I'll put that in my equation. So 4y minus 4 equals -1, parentheses x minus -1. So really, my equation is this. That's why we always take the opposite of the number when we're putting our point right there. So you could see our point, if we took this out, would be -1, 4. So there you go. That's our equation of a line. All right, write the equation of the graphed line. I have 2 points given to me right here. My y-intercept is right there. It's 6. So I have that piece. So I'm going to have +6. And then I have another point here. So it looks like I go down 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4. I go 4 to the right. So my slope is -1/4. Then I have my x plus 6. That's the equation of that line. And then we have another line. This time, though, I don't know where I'm crossing the y-intercept or the y-axis. So I'm going to first find my slope, which is, and it doesn't matter which way you can go. You could go this way and then over as well. But in this case, I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4. And I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. -10 to the left. So -4 divided by -10 is 2/5. So my slope equals 2/5. Oops. I could also see that by going to this point here. And I could also go up 2 to the right 5. That's why it's positive. Always remember that. And then I'll just choose one of these points. So I'll choose this point right here, which is -6, 2. And so I get y minus 2 equals 2/5 x plus 6. And I am doing x minus -6, and I just wrote that so it could be done quicker. All right, for 10 and 11, we just plug this in. So g of 4 is going to be -4 times 4 plus 2. So -16 plus 2 is -14. And f of -3 minus 5 is going to be -8. All right, next page. So the next page is just solving two-step equations. We've done this before. I want to isolate x, so I'm going to add 12 to the other side of the equal sign. You get negative 3/4 x is equal to positive 8. And then I'm going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, the opposite reciprocal, or sorry, just the reciprocal. Opposite would mean that we are changing the sign. We're not here. This cancels out to be 1x, which is just x. And then we have negative 4 times 8, which is negative 32, divided by 3. That's my solution. You could plug it in a calculator if you want. It doesn't matter. My next problem, I distribute on both sides. So I get 4x minus 12 equals negative 3x minus 15. And then I'm going to go ahead and combine. I'm going to add 3x over here, and I get 7x minus 12 equals negative 15. Now it's just a two-step equation, 7x, and I go ahead and add 12 to both sides. And I get 7x is equal to negative 3. So x is then equal to negative 3/7. Number 3, it looks kind of weird, but it's really not. It's really nothing to worry about. I am solving for x, so I'm going to subtract c to the other side. And I get 2x equals dy minus c. They're not like terms, so I'm not going to get rid of, or not going to subtract anything. Then I divide by 2. And so I get x is equal to dy minus c all over 2. All right, and our last one, we cross multiply here. So I got 4 times 5x, which is 20x, is equal to 5 times x. It's 5x and 5 times 12, which is 60. I need to combine like terms, so I subtract 5x over. And I get 15x is equal to 60, and so x is equal to 4. I divide that. That's what I get. You have your calculator, so that'll be okay. All right, and lastly, we're going to make a scatter plot. So it says in 2010, the YMCA began a gymnastics program. The table shows the number of participants in the program since 2010. So we're going to go ahead and plot this. And first thing right off the bat is I cannot plot 35 or 74 and 94 on the graph because my graph goes up to 10. So I need to change my scale. So I'm going to say the y's go up by 10, so on. And I'm going to keep my x's at 1. So 1, 2, 3. So now that I have a scale set up, I can go ahead and graph this. So 0, 15. That's going to be right about there. 135. 253, 40, 53, 3 is 74, 50, 60, 74, and then 4 is 94, so right about there. So I have these points plotted, okay? So it says explain how you know that the table represents a function. So the first way I can say this is that it passes the vertical line test. Another way that I can say it is that each input goes to a unique output. There's other ways of saying this as well, but these are the two I'm going with. I would make sure to check with me before using your own explanation. You're going to have a question just like this. All right, C, describe any trend in the number of participants. So the trend would be throughout the years, the number of participants has, the number of the gymnastics program has grown. Or throughout the years, the gymnastics program has steady growth. This is why you don't use pen, steady growth. Okay, so you could also just say that the gymnastics program, as time progresses, the number of participants increases as well. Okay, so this would be a positive relation, right? So if you think about drawing a line through it, it would indeed go up. And then lastly, does the relationship appear to be linear? So, does the relationship appear to be linear? So this doesn't need to be a perfect line. I do not need to have every single dot on this point. Okay, so for example, if I had an X, if that was one of my dots, this would still appear to be relatively linear. Okay, so just because they don't have to be in a perfect line, they can be slightly off. It's just the general shape. Could you draw a line through there and would it be a decent representation? And this would be for sure yes. Okay, all right, that's the end of the video. Hope it helps you out. Make sure to study, and if you have any questions, we will have about a minute or two to go through them before the test.